everyone. Today we will make onion soup. From 1765 recipe, boil 8 or 10 large Spanish onions in milk and water. Change it 3 times, and when they are quite soft, rub them through a hair sieve. Cut an old cock in pieces and boil it for gravy, and with 1 blade of mace, strain it and pour it upon the pulp of the onions. Boil it gently with the crumb of the old penny loaf grated into half a pint of cream. Add cayenne pepper and salt to your dish or taft. A few heads of asparagus and a flute spinach make it eat and well and look very pretty. Grate a crust of brown bread around the edge of the dish. Let's get into it. So we did improvise a little bit here on this dish, of course. I went ahead and added in our onions, and I proceed after that to actually add in our milk. So the milk, the onions, and then I also improvise and add potatoes, because remember, we're doing a rationing recipe of the 1765 recipe of the onion soup. So I have some diced potatoes here that I decided to add into to also thicken the soup, besides the breadcrumbs that we're going to add a little later. We're using Spam instead of using the cock in pieces for boil. We're going to use Spam as our meat. So I cut up our Spam into good-sized pieces because we're going to fry this separately in some oil. So you heat up your oil and make sure you fry those pieces really, really good, because this is going to be the excellent and delicious taste of the soup with those nice pieces of fried Spam in it. After that, after we remove our soup from the stove, we're going to add those pieces of fried, crispy Spam into the soup to give it a nice salt pork flavor per se. You can use it over salt pork because Spam, as you know, contains a high amount of sodium. So we're adding that, and that's the reason why later on you'll see that when we add our cayenne pepper and our allspice and that salt, we're going to add some sea salt. We're not going to add too much of it because we don't want to over salt our soup. Once we incorporate all of that stuff together, we're going to replace our pot back to our stove and add our seasonings. We have some allspice, sea salt, and cayenne pepper as our soup requires. Because we don't have mace, we're using allspice. And we just bring that to a nice rapid rolling boil. And as we're doing that, we're going to add some of our breadcrumbs in there and add some sweet peas as well. We don't have asparagus or spinach for that nice, pretty, yummy, tasty color as well. So we're adding the green peas because we are rationing and we are dealing with what we have, doing with what we have to save money during the stressful war times and shortages. And look, this is yummy. Look at this. This is great. Add some bread with butter, some toasty bread to the side, and voila, we are done. Enjoy. Leave a comment below. And thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for future videos. Here to the right of the screen, I have our recipe here, and I have altered this recipe a little bit because we are doing it the ration way here in modern times, the ration way. So the recipe says boil 8 or 10 large Spanish onions in milk and water. We are just going to boil 2 because we are just making a small pot. It says change it 3 times, but we won't waste anything. And I decided to cut up a few potatoes and add that in as well. So I have the potatoes and the onions and the milk and water boiling, coming to a boil here. And instead of using chicken or cock, we will use Spam. I have cut up some pieces of Spam that I will add to our pot or a frying pan in a little bit of oil. And so we want to fry that until it is brown. And after it is cooked brown and very brown on both sides, make sure that it's cooked very well. We're going to add this to our boiling mixture here. Very simple. Oh, yes. And delicious. So we're going to add this meat. So instead of chicken or cock pieces to boil, we are adding Spam. Indeed. And after we add this Spam into our pan, we're going to let this all come to a boil. Of course, we're going to add in our seasonings, of course, while our mixture is coming to that boil. So instead of mace, we didn't have mace, so we have to use what's on hand. We're going to use a little bit of oil, allspice to the left, cayenne pepper, and sea salt. And we're going to add this mixture to our pan, mix it all together. As you can see here, I have it mixed together, and we're going to bring this to a boil. We also are going to add in some breadcrumbs as well to thicken our soup. I'm adding in green peas because we don't have spinach or asparagus, so we're going to use green peas. We're going to bring all of that to a boil. Please add enough salt to taste. Don't oversalt. I found myself having to add a little bit more salt than the recipe calls for, but it is to taste, and voila, this is what we have here. Hope you all enjoyed. Please comment below. It was delicious.